if you didn't get it by the first parasha when there was 49 crazy, insane curses that should scare any human being to be the biggest tzaddik in history, you didn't get it in Parashat Bichukotai, you are a stone. I must hit you harder. If it's a Care Bear Rabbi, you're not allowed to attend even when you're not studying. Why? Because the Care Bear Rabbi is also Amalek. In last week's parasha, at the end of the parasha, Hashem said He commanded us. There's a commandment that will last until Mashiach. He says you must destroy the memory of Amalek. You must destroy the memory of Amalek. Why did He say you must destroy Amalek? Why did He say the memory of Amalek? Because Amalek, the memory of Amalek is beyond Amalek. It's more than just a people. It's an idea. Amalek, the people, we don't know them. We don't know who they are anymore. We know it's the Nazis, but Nazis are 70 years ago. We know it's the Romans, but the Romans are 2,000 years ago. We know it's a bunch of different, but we don't know for sure. If we knew for sure who's Amalek, we have to kill them. But we don't know anymore. But the memory of Amalek, we know. Why? It's anti-Torah. It's anti-Torah. I'll finish this point and I'll answer your question. It's anti-Torah. It's things that, not necessarily people saying that there is no God. That's not necessarily just anti-Torah. That's stupidity. Anti-Torah means saying things that are just nonsense. Saying that if your wife doesn't feel like going to the mikveh, you could still be with her, like some idiot said, who calls himself a rabbi. Saying that if your wife wants to go to the beach with a bunch of other naked people, you should take her. It's a mitzvah, even if it's on Shabbat, like the same idiot said. Or telling people, you're all tzaddikim because you're Jewish. You're all great and Hashem loves you because you love the Rebbe. Or because you go to Uman. Or because you read Tehillim 500 times a day. That does not make you righteous, my friends. What makes you righteous is following the law. There's a law, follow it. Part of that law is fixing your midot. Fixing your character traits. The Gaon Mivilna, in Iggeret HaGra, a letter he wrote his wife and children when he went to Israel. Now in those days, not like today, you go on a plane, a few hours later you're somewhere else. In those days, you may not survive the travel. So he wrote them a letter, instructions of what to do. It's an amazing letter. You should read it at least once a week. 4 or 5 pages. You should read it at least once a week. If you don't have it, I'll send it to you. You get it online for free. English, Hebrew, whatever. Iggeret HaGra, it's called. The Gaon Mivilna. Kodesh Kodeshim. Writes to his wife, Musar. He says, my dear wife, if the children curse, say Lashon Hara, cannot protect their mouth, they're not watching their mouth, hit them. Hit them. Gaon Mivilna. Hit kids. This is the Musar you're teaching? I need you to tell me to hit the kids? That's what you're teaching? Every mother knows the kid acts up, you slap him. And maybe at least the previous generation. Today they give him a award. Previous generation, when I was growing up, we did something through a shoe would follow you wherever you are, in the air. You mouth it off to Ima, you mouth it off to Abba, a shoe is following you. Around the corner, pop, right in the head. Why? Don't mouth off to Ima and Abba. Don't mouth off to Grandma. Don't. Who do you think you are, you little 5 little peon? You have to behave. You can't curse. You can't scream. You can't act like a zoo animal like today. Today, what do they do? The kids beat up the parents. So in the previous generation, still when I'm a little older than most of you, in that generation, we still got a shoe. Today, you get a reward. So the Gaon Mivilna says to his wife, if they can't watch their mouth, hit them. This is what you have to write there? She doesn't need you to remind her this. At the end of the letter, he says, some people, if you teach them some musar, they listen, it touches their neshama, they do TeShuva. You teach them, you remind them what their neshama already knows. You remind them, like the Ramchal says in the beginning, the introduction letter to his famous book, Mesilat Yesharim, Path of the Just. He says, I'm reminding you of things you already know. It's all Chidushim, by the way. We don't know anything. But in this generation, maybe they knew. We know nothing. He says, I'm reminding you of things you know. Vilna Gaon says, some people, you tell them Musar, you tell them how to behave, you're reminding them of something they already know, they do tshuva. Oh, I didn't know I shouldn't be angry. Oh, I didn't know I shouldn't yell. Oh, I didn't know I shouldn't be stingy. Oh, I didn't know that I should do all these things. I didn't know. You remind them, they come to a lecture, they hear it, no problem. He says, but some people have made so many sins that the klipa has become a stone around their heart. Their heart has become uncircumcised like a stone. And the only way you can get the water out of the stone is by hitting it. This is why I told you to hit the kids. Because if they're cursing, that means that their hearts are made of stone. Hashem Yitbarach wrote in Parashat Tavo the same thing he wrote in Parashat Bechukotai, but doubled it up. He doubled the ante. Why? If you didn't get it by the first Parashat when there was 49 crazy, insane curses that should scare any human being to be the biggest tzaddik in history, you didn't get it in Parashat Bechukotai, you are a stone. I must hit you harder. If the Care Bear Rabbi is not telling you these things, you're not allowed to go. But if you have a rabbi or someone trying to be telling you what Hashem said, it's much more important than you studying by yourself. It doesn't matter if you're studying Zohar by yourself. It doesn't matter if you're studying Gemara by yourself. It doesn't matter if you're studying anything by yourself. Why? Because at the shiur, you get fire. At the shiur, you get woken up. Whereas in your personal study, maybe you're going to have the TV in the background. Maybe you're going to have a little bamba in the background. Maybe you're going to fall asleep. Maybe you're going to relax. Maybe you're on the couch. Maybe you're having a conversation on the side. Maybe you're going to smoke a few cigarettes. It's comfortable. It's home. It's okay. Fine. No. No fire. No fire. No siyata dishmaya. You're by yourself with one book. You have one book. Whatever what book it is. By yourself. You're not doing tshuva by yourself, my friend. You can't do tshuva by yourself. Why? Because this Mishnah says you can't. There's no siyata dishmaya for you being by yourself. You want to do tshuva, you come to Shiur Torah. Any questions? Yeah.
Terrible, terrible things I'm following the news have been happening in Syria, and now they're coming closer to the Gvul of Eretz Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, this Putin, the successor to the Eastern Roman Empire, we cannot depend on anything he says.
Mm-hmm.
And now Trump goes back on all the promises that he made, and really it begins to seem as if he was a very good man.
It says in the prophet Jeremiah, someone that trusts a human being gets cursed, special curse in Shamayim. Why you get special curse? Why you trust Trump? Why do you trust Putin? Why do you trust Netanyahu? Don't trust people. No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general. Anyone that trusts any of these government officials, any man on earth, anyone, gets a special curse from heaven. Why? Only one you're allowed to trust is Hashem Yitbarach. All of these things that people are worried about, whether it's Irma or it's Putin, whether it's Korea or it's Trump, whether it's Iran or it's anything. Anytime you spend any worry on these people, you have the right amount of worry, but you're worried about the wrong thing. You have the right amount. You should be worried. All of you should be worried. Judgment Day is in 2 weeks. All of you should be worried. I am worried. I was so worried last night I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep. I'm not joking. Not exaggerating. I slept for an hour last night. I could not sleep. I was reading this parasha. I could not sleep. I continued reading more and more and more. I couldn't sleep. Why? I said this parasha happened. This parasha continues to happen. If you read this parasha and you could sleep, you, my friend, are stone. Not the heart of stone. You, myself, you are a stone. You read this parasha, you understand what it says, you can't sleep. Everything is happening. Everything happened. Everything is probably going to happen again soon. If you can sleep at night with no worry, you have to get hit a few times. I got hit a few times. Almost a decade full of hits. A decade full of hits. I know this is real. So worried, all of you should be worried. I am worried. Everyone watching should be worried. Judgment Day is in 2 weeks. Hashem is showing you He's close. He's not showing you He's close and happy. He's just showing you He's close. You got Irma, you got Houston, you got Amalek, you got Iran, you got Trump, you got all the problems in the world somehow culminating right now. Everything is happening. Everyone wants to go to war. The world is about to explode. Why wouldn't you be worried? The problem is we have the right amount of worry, but we're worried about the wrong thing. Worried you should be, but the only thing you should be worried about is your connection and righteousness with Hashem. If you're righteous, you have nothing to worry about. You're doing what it says in the Torah, nothing to worry about. It doesn't matter if you live in America or you live on top of the Kotel HaMa'aravi, the Western Wall. It doesn't matter if you live in Iran or you live in Afghanistan or you live somewhere in the middle of battle with Martin, the tzaddik, that's doing TeShuva as we speak. Or you live anywhere else. Why? If you have a real connection with Hashem that's full of mitzvot, full of doing what He says, He'll protect you. Where does He say? This week's parasha. This week's parasha. This week's parasha, He says, your enemies, you have nothing to worry about. I'll beat all of them. I'll beat all of them. But if you're not righteous with Hashem, you have a lot of worries. אם בחוקותיי תלכו ואת מצוותיי תשמעו ועשיתם אותם